actually sat down and done a chatty video specifically for you guys. So I thought, what a better way than to start this week off right than by sitting down and doing a book review for you. So I tossed this idea around a little bit. However, when it first came to mind, I was in the middle of a super long series. If you have ever read or watched or heard of Outlander, you'll know exactly what I mean. These books are over 1,000 pages each, and I think are 8 or 9 of them in the series. So I didn't really want to start halfway through a series. I also didn't want to start over. So I wrapped up the series as quickly as I could and started in on my shelf of books. Now, if you know me in real life, you'll know that I am a bookworm to the core. I have always loved reading. I used to get in trouble for reading way past my bedtime. My parents used to have to take away my book or take away my nightlight because I would sit into the wee hours of the morning reading books. I used to go to my local library and pick up a stack of books and sit out on the deck in the summertime and just read all day. I don't have that luxury as much anymore, particularly with working as much as I have been and starting the new side hustle. Reading is more of a leisure to me now than it ever has been. And when I find books that I like, I want to recommend them to you. So I kind of want to start this series off right, and I'm so glad that this is the first book in the series. And yes, I want to make this a series. It's probably not going to be every 3 weeks or whatever, but I'm going to do it as often as I can, finishing a book and sharing it with you. And even if I finish a book and I'm like, it wasn't as great as I wanted it to be, I'm still going to share it with you just in case you want to pick it up too. Also, for those of you who ever read the Twilight series, Stephenie Meyers just announced that she's releasing Midnight Sun. And I don't know about you, but I'm pretty excited about that. It's basically the books from Edward's perspective, so it's going to be a little bit darker, and I'm super thrilled. I know there was a huge hullabaloo about her originally releasing that because she shared some chapters with her friends. One of her friends leaked it, and then she posted those on the website and said, that's all you're getting. You're not getting any more. And I don't even remember when that was. It was so long ago. But anyway, if you are excited about that, let me know down below, because honestly, I'm almost considering rereading the Twilight books just so that when it comes out in August, I will have a refresher. But we'll see. I have a lot of books to get through, and right now they're not here with me, and none of the libraries are open because of COVID, so I may not get the chance to. Anyway, it was also recommended to me that I do this with wine, and I really loved that idea. However, I did not have a chance to grab a bottle today, so that's okay. Maybe next time. But if you have wine with you, if you have coffee with you, if you have your favorite drink, sit down, snuggle up, and get ready for the coziness of our first book review. Alright, so today's book that we are reviewing is called Blood Wedding by Pierre Lemaitre. And this book I picked up at Chapters for I think $4. I was just browsing the shelves in late January, I think, just there to take the edge off. I love going to bookstores when I'm feeling anxious or stressed out, just to kind of wander through the shelves and smell all those lovely pages. And I came across the clearance section and I saw this book, and obviously with the spine out, I was like, ooh, this looks interesting. I'm very much I judge my books based on the cover, like actual books. And I saw it and I was like, ooh, this looks interesting. So I pulled it out, flipped to the synopsis, which I will read to you in a minute. And I was like, oh my goodness, I'm really torn. I sent a picture of it to one of my best friends, and she said, oh my god, that looks amazing, I want to read it. So if you get it, share it with me. Her birthday was in a week or so, or a couple weeks away. So I said, you know what, there's 2 copies. I'll pick one up for me, and I'll pick one up for her. Because I mean, $8 for 2 books is still a super good price. So that is how I found this. And you'll notice a lot of my books that I have, that's kind of how I found it. I either found it on the table, that was the sales and clearance section, or I had put it on a list because someone recommended it. And I found it on sale. I don't think I have bought a book full price since I've been buying my own books. I don't think I've ever bought a book full price, because books are freaking expensive if you don't know. This book, originally Canadian, is $32.50, and I'm sorry, it was a fantastic book, but I would not pay $32.50 for it, because to me it's not like a movie that I'll watch 6 or 7 times. I rarely reread books, even if they're really, really good, because especially like this is kind of a psychological thriller. If you've read it once, even if you go a few years without reading it, you'll pick it up again and you'll still remember what happens and you'll still kind of give away the twists. So that kind of sucks. But like historical fiction, like Outlander, for example, that one you could read a couple times and probably be okay. However, I would not put my bets on reading Outlander more than once because it's such a large series and large commitment. Anyway, so the synopsis for Blood Wedding. Sophie Duget, young, successful, and happily married, thought at first she was becoming absent-minded when she started misplacing her mail and forgetting where she parked her car the night before. But then, as her husband and colleagues pointed out with increasing frustration, she began forgetting things she'd said and done, too. And when she was detained by the police for shoplifting, a crime she didn't remember committing, the confusion and blackouts that had begun to plague her took on a more sinister cast. Her marriage started to come apart at the seams. Now Sophie is in much deeper water. The young boy she nannies dies while in her care, a tragedy of which she has no memory. Afraid for her sanity and of what the police will do to her when the body is discovered, Sophie goes on the run, changing her identity and appearance to evade the law. Forced to lead a very different kind of life, one on the margins of society, Sophie wonders where everything went wrong. Still, with a new name and a new life, she hopes that she'll be able to put her demons to rest for good. It soon becomes clear, however, that the real nightmare has only just begun. Now, I know reading it now, I don't remember exactly what I felt when I read it the first time, but reading it now, I do get a very big Gone Girl sense. I was getting that sense throughout the very beginning of the book. So basically the book is divided into 3 types of sections. So there's Sophie's section, there is another section that is basically like diary entries that are from another person's perspective, and then there is like a final section where it combines the person who did the diary entries and Sophie. So when I was reading Sophie's section, I was like, what the hell? Like, this is really Gone Girlish, you know, she's running away from these problems that she's caused, and I was like, ugh, I don't know, but you know what, I'm gonna keep pushing because I know that my friend Christina said she loved the book and it gets better as you go. So I really was concerned it was kind of a Gone Girl ripoff, but it is totally not, it is really not. I did notice at the very beginning, in comparison to Outlander where the sentences are very long and flowy, these ones were very short and to the point. And at first that really bothered me, and I'm not sure if it's because I was reading Outlander for so long, or if it's because they felt really choppy. But as I got into Sophie's section, I found that I really, really liked it because it almost mimicked how her brain was working. Her brain was working in little fragments, and that's kind of how these sentences portrayed it to me, and I really enjoyed that. The log section, I will tell you now, it is really hard to put the book down when you get to those log sections, so if you don't have a lot of time to get through them, maybe don't start the logs yet. They're not a huge chunk. I think, I would say it's maybe 50 pages. I don't even know if it's that. This book is what, 265 pages? So maybe 50 pages. It's not even half of the book. But if you don't have time to read it, don't start it yet. end before the logs and then try to get through them all at once, because I had to end in the middle of the log, and that was so hard for me because there's really no chapters in that section. It's just date, entry. So sometimes it can get really difficult to end there. And like I mentioned, there is a really large twist. And it really surprised me once I got to the logs, and once I started the logs and the rest of the book, there were so many things that I was like, what the heck? This is crazy. I will mention this does, I'm going to preface this book with a trigger warning. There is some mention of suicide and self-harm. However, despite the fact that it caught me off guard, it's not descriptive. It's very just to the point, and that's it. There's no description about it, so that is helpful as well. I feel like if it had been really descriptive, I wouldn't have been able to continue, because that is a very sensitive topic to me. Suicide, not necessarily as much, because that is part of my daily life in my work world. I have to constantly assess individuals for risk of suicide, but self-harm I'm still trying to deal with just because of my trauma in my own past. So I will let you know that that is something that does occur, but it is not very descriptive. It's just quite, not necessarily brushed past, but it's said and then it's done, which is kind of nice. It's not dwelled on. If you feel comfortable handling it, I definitely recommend this book. This book, I have not read a book as fast as I did. I read it in 2 days, and I have not read a book that quickly in I don't even know how long. Probably since I started university, which has been over 7 years now. So it's impressive when I can read a book that quickly, even though it is only 265 pages. Still really impressive to me. So overall, I do want to touch on that it is French-based, so there are a lot of French names, if you didn't catch that by the author's name. So sometimes when I was reading it, I was like, ooh, how do you pronounce that? But it's nothing that would hinder someone from reading it. I just noticed that there are actual faces in this rose, and there are 7 of them. I don't remember how many people Sophie comes across while she's really struggling, but if it's 7, that is extremely good. If anybody reads this and they can tell me how many people Sophie interacts with, let me know if it's 7, because if it is, this is incredible marketing, guys. But that being said, that is all we have for today. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more content, hit the subscribe button, and I will see you guys soon. I hope you enjoy the book recommendation if you pick it up. Let me know if you do, and I will see you guys later. Bye.